So I'm on a kick right now of describing and thinking about how crazy it is that we make financial decisions like the way that we actually do things in terms of life decisions that we make. So one of them being, as I pointed out probably in the previous podcast, I don't know if you've listened to it, but a car, when you buy a car that's $30,000, if you were to buy that at the age of 30 and you were to, instead of buying it, you took that money, bought a cheaper car, rode your bike, and invested that $30,000 for 60 years, you would have, I think the calculation was, if I remember, it was $12 million. It was a lot of money, right? It's a super simple calculation to do, super easy stuff to do. It's almost like, I hate to say like guaranteed, but it's pretty, there's some certainty to this, right? Just invest in index funds. So, what the crazy thing is, though, is that most people do not do this. And then, we sort of are in these financial binds later on, right? Like most people actually don't have a lot of money to say by the time that they're dead and all of that kind of stuff. And it is actually sad, but then got me thinking right now is, one way to perceive it is like, okay, this is really sad, and it is, right? Like in terms of if you were to do these things, you would probably end up doing okay, and then, having basically generational wealth, right? You have that much money. It's enough money to basically provide generations of wealth. And if you just keep it growing, and you take a small percentage of that going on, like virtually, it's as crazy as like if you did that until for 100 years, it would provide like enough for a family, like for the rest of their life. Like it's astronomical, right? If you look at the compound interest of these kind of things, 100 years is a big sort of long-term thing, but I'm willing to, wager my investments at least on this. So, what the weird thing is to think about, the one side is that, okay, that's really sad, right? But the other side to think about is like, why are people doing this? And I look around on the roads, and I see people driving these like very big cars compared to the norm, big trucks or, very souped up cars, all those kind of things. And I think to my head, one part of me is like, man, that's really dumb. But then the other part is how much the social part of life matters, right? Like this is at a moment, and most of the time when you get a big car like that, or a fast car like that, you're at a stage in your life where you have to sort of prove to other people to be attractive and all of those kind of things. Or it's the same things as getting augmented body parts, like plastic surgery and all those kind of things. It's the same thing. The social part of life really, really matters. And that tells me that if you were to, in the grand scheme of things, you're doing either something risky or something that's going to be, just flat out, like, not great for you in the long run, right? Like, not doing this sort of investments or, getting a risky plastic surgery, those kind of things. It's not good for you in the long run. And yet, we choose to do those particular things because we're trying to be attractive to the opposite sex, or maybe it's not the opposite sex, to sort of prove to somebody else that you're worthy. And it strikes to me as like how important the social part of life actually is. Like this, not necessarily like the social as chatting and all those kind of things, but like social status and demonstrating to other people like how important you are. And it's not, and this is sort of the rub, it's not that you actually are important, it's demonstrating the perception of, importance or prestige or any of those kind of things. There's a real big difference between those in life, right? Like a lot of people that actually garner that significant amount of wealth, you would never know. They're pretty ordinary, boring people. But, the people that sort of do these displays, social displays, right away, And it's done on purpose in terms of these things. Maybe buying multiple houses or buying, a giant house, all of these kind of things. And I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I'm just saying it's pretty interesting to sit back and think about how big that actually matters in our world. We clearly know how to do, things better. That's one assumption, is we could sort of assume that everybody's, not that bright and that kind of stuff. But I don't think that's the case. I think the other side of it is we have to realize that the social part of life is crazy important, and to the extent that is vastly more important than sort of the rational, sitting down, calculating, all that kind of stuff part of life. Realize that. Like, take a step back and sort of look at when you're driving around or you're walking around the next time and you see people buying cars. For the most part, we could probably get away with a two-wheeled car, or a two-seater car or a three-seater car, and that goes for me. I drive a 10-year-old car. I'm gonna get a new one this year, or within the short period, and part of it, I'm aiming to get a Tesla. So part of it is sort of the environmental part, but also part of it is that there is some prestige there, and it's costly. And I have to think about, like, why am I actually doing this? And part of it is that sort of prestige part of life that matters. And I think everybody does that. And we have to sit back and just marvel in how important that is in our world. All right, take care and have a wonderful